wanted to talk to you guys today about the tragedy that happened with the woman who was killed, and I actually wanted to talk about this on a different perspective. I know everyone is talking about the breakdown of the video, but I actually wanted to talk about the fact that she was labeled crazy, because this is what I'm trying to explain when I speak about my personal experiences. Now, I'm not really one to discuss things that's on the news. However, this has really touched me because it happens so often that people are labeled crazy just because you don't understand them. People are labeled crazy just because they've been through traumas. People are labeled crazy perhaps because they experience things that you don't understand. They experience things that you don't experience. Perhaps maybe they're on medication to help them with their traumas. Perhaps they're in counseling and they're labeled crazy. You know, as I said before, I'm no doctor, but I don't think crazy is a diagnosis. I think crazy is a label. And watching that video, it tugged at my heart so deep because I know that the woman said that she took medication. I know she seemed nervous, but I've been in that situation before. I've been in a situation to where while you're taking medications for anxieties or depression and you're undergoing counseling, I've been in that situation before to where authorities came to the door. And the funny thing about that is when you're labeled crazy, you're automatically seen as some kind of a threat to everyone and yourself. And in some cases, I'm not saying all, in some cases, maybe the circumstances are extenuating. In some cases, maybe you are a threat to others and yourself. But I'm going to go out on a stretch and say in most cases, that's not the situation. In most cases, you've been through so much trauma that you're seeking the help. You know, you are on medication to help you through those traumatic experiences and the reaction that you physically have to those traumatic experiences. You're seeking counseling so you can work through those traumatic experiences. I don't know about you guys. We all have intuition, and I speak about intuition quite often. We all have intuition. And I don't know about you guys, but I can see that her intuition picked up on the fact that she was in danger. We all don't listen to our intuition as we should. Sometimes we go against our intuition. I used to be that person who went against their intuition. I used to be that person who I didn't listen to my intuition. And something was telling that woman that she was in danger. You can see it in her demeanor, even though she was very nervous, and you may call that paranoid. But sometimes you're listening to your intuition and it's viewed as paranoia. I've been in that situation time and time again, to where my intuition told me that I was in danger, but because I didn't have proof, I was deemed crazy. And we really have to stop that, guys. We really have to stop that. We really have to start having compassion for individuals who experience a tremendous amount of trauma. They sometimes experience things on a spiritual level that maybe others don't experience, so they don't understand it. Even in the churches, they have prophets, prophetess, and these individuals are connected on a spiritual level that maybe others don't experience, and so they don't understand it. But that doesn't make them crazy. That doesn't make them crazy at all. Those of us out there who follow our intuition, and when our intuition tells us that we're in danger, that does not make us crazy. Those of us who are empathic and we can feel certain things. I am not the only one in the world who's empathic. Watching that video, I can feel her nervousness just watching the video alone. Other empaths out there, I know you can do the same. You can feel her nervousness. She says she took her medication. She was asking for her Bible. She wanted a second set of authorities on the phone with her because she felt uncomfortable for whatever reason. When she asked them to stay on the phone, she didn't have a reason as to why she wanted them to stay on the phone. She just knew that she wanted a second set of authorities on the phone. And when you don't have proof, when you don't have reasoning, you are looked at as crazy. At the end of that video, he called her crazy. See, this is what I'm talking about, guys. This is what I'm talking about. When people place labels on you, and the next thing you know, because someone thinks you crazy, they feel your life is not worth living. They feel that you don't deserve to be here. They place you in a situation to where it could be deemed that you took your own life in the event something happened to you, or it was some kind of accident due to you being crazy. This is why I say all the time, if something were to happen to me, no, not at all. I am in no position at all to want to take my own life. No, it was no type of accident. Yes, if something happens to me, it was orchestrated. This is why I say it. And that does not make me crazy. That makes me smart enough to listen to my intuition. That makes me smart enough to not turn my back on my intuition. You can see in her demeanor that she knew something was not right. She was the one who called them. So it's not like they came around her and she was in a compromised position. She called the authorities. And I know it was probably going to be next because it happens to me. Maybe now they're going to try to dig up everything they can in her background to try to justify the fact of calling her crazy. We really have to stop that, guys. We really have to stop that out here. When people go through traumatic experiences, when they're on medication, when they're going through counseling to seek help, that we call them crazy, then we dig up their past to try to justify calling them crazy, then we trigger them to try to make them react, so then you can justify calling them crazy. That is horrible. That is horrible, to sit there and terrorize someone that you so-called deem crazy, to where you'll dig up their past, you'll try to orchestrate a situation or a narrative to where they are crazy because of this or they are crazy because of that. That has to stop. And then you feel as if, you know what, I think they're crazy, so they're a threat and let me take them out. That is the most horrible thing I've ever heard. My heart goes out to that family or anyone who was affected by that woman losing her life. My heart goes out to them. My heart goes out to them because it should have been avoided. It should have been avoided. She was standing there. She said, "I'm sorry." Those were her last words. Her last words were, "I'm sorry." And she ducked. I don't know about you guys, but anybody's pointing a gun at you, the first reaction that you have is to duck. You duck down. Who's going to have a gun pointing at them and just stand there looking down the barrel of a gun? I'm not here to stir up anything because that's just not my lane. But I'm here to speak on her being labeled crazy. Her daughter said she would have never taken her own life. And this is what I'm saying. You can't justify things just because you label somebody crazy. You can't spin a narrative to what you want to believe about that individual because you don't know. You don't know what they've been through. You don't know what they're experiencing. You don't know how they feel. Have some compassion, guys. Instead of labeling people with the word crazy, have some compassion, please, for the things that they've gone through, the traumas that they've experienced. Have a little respect for the fact of when they do take medication to try to help themselves, to get through the anxiety, when they do go through counseling to try to get help. These are not threats. These are not threats. And her saying, "I rebuke you in the name of Jesus," that should not be a threat. That should not be a threat. Those were her words of comfort for herself. And her saying that does not make her crazy. My heart goes out to her family. Us listening to our intuition does not make us crazy. Us having spiritual connections that maybe other people do not understand because they don't experience it, it does not make us crazy. She was nervous. She wasn't crazy. I know how that feels. I've been in that situation. I've been in the situation of being nervous because you know someone thinks that you're crazy. And so they show you very little respect as a human being. Being aware of our surroundings and listening to our intuition does not make us crazy. Calling out to the Most High does not make us crazy. I'm not crazy, and neither was she.